Hi everybody, this is Johnny Vasquez, founder of New Stitch Today, and in today's episode I'm going to teach you how to knit the slip stitch crosses stitch. How to knit the slip stitch crosses stitch, English style. For this tutorial, you will need a pair of knitting needles. Special thanks to our sponsor Skacel for providing today's needles. Today we are using their Addi Natura double pointed needles in size 8 and 2 balls of yarn in contrasting colors. Special thanks to our sponsor Lion Brand for providing today's yarn. Today we are using yarn from their kitchen cotton line. For this stitch you will need to know the following techniques: knit, purl, slip stitch, cable 2 forward, cable 2 back. Or alternatively, you could use the right twist or left twist. To begin the stitch, you'll need to cast on in multiples of 6. Now before we get into the main part of our pattern, you will need to do 2 foundation rows, and the first row is going to be knit, but since we've used the long tail cast on for this swatch, we're actually going to skip the first row since the long tail cast on actually creates a first worked row in knit stitch. So we'll turn our work and do row 2 by purling all stitches. So for foundation row number 1 is knit, unless you use the long tail cast on, and then foundation row 2 is purl. And we'll be doing our foundation row in color A. Row 1. We're going to start by adding our next color. So we're just going to put our color in our hand here. At the beginning of our row, we'll be adding this new color. So we'll be going to knit 1. And we'll just tighten that down, make sure that it's nice and secure. We want to make sure that we have a decent sized tail on our new color yarn so that we can weave it in later. Alright, so we're going to knit a total of 2 stitches. Then we're going to start our repeat by slipping the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to knit 4 stitches. And we'll repeat this sequence until we reach the last 4 stitches in our row. Now when we reach the last 4 stitches in our row, we'll slip the next 2 stitches purlwise and then knit the last 2 stitches. Row 2. Continuing with color B, we're going to begin by purling 2. Then we'll start our repeat by slipping the next 2 stitches purlwise, and we'll finish our repeat by purling 4. So we'll continue repeating this sequence until the last 4 stitches in our row. Now when we reach the last 4 stitches in our row, we're going to slip the next 2 stitches purlwise and then purl the last 2 stitches. Row 3. We're going to switch to our color A yarn here, and we've laid our color B yarn over the top of our color A. Now you could go either direction if you would like. You just want to make sure that you're consistent as you're carrying the yarn up the side so that it has a nice look to it, and we'll see that a little bit more clearly as we continue on in the pattern. So the first thing we're going to do is knit the first stitch. Okay, then we're going to take our cable needle or double pointed needle and do a cable 2 back. So we'll take the first stitch off of our main needle and hold that behind our work. Then we're going to knit the next stitch off of our main needle and then knit the stitch off of our cable needle. Okay, and then right after that we will do a cable 2 front. So we'll slip that first stitch off onto our cable needle, hold that in front of our work, then knit the next stitch off of our main needle and then knit the stitch off of our cable needle. Okay, so now we're going to start our repeat, and we'll begin by knitting 2. Now I'm going to show you how to do this next part without the cable needle. We're actually going to do the cable tube back, but we're going to do it using the right twist stitch. So we'll insert our needle into the second stitch on our main needle, knit that stitch, leave it onto our needle, and then go into our first stitch, and then knit that stitch, and then we'll pull them both off at the same time. Okay, and we can see that it's got the same right twist as our cable to back has right over here. Okay, so we'll do a similar thing with our cable to front. We're going to do the left twist. So we'll go into the back of the second stitch right here and knit that stitch. Then we'll bring our working needle around to the front, go into that first stitch and knit that, and then pull both off together. Okay, and we can see that we have our left twist in our stitch leaning left, just like we have here. Or if you're left-handed, then it's leaning right. Okay, and we'll continue repeating that sequence until the last stitch in our row. And when we reach the end of our row, we'll, instead of knitting 2 to start the next stitch repeat, we're just going to knit the last stitch. Row 4, we're going to purl all stitches. Row 5, we're going to switch back to our color B, so we're going to bring our yarn under, just like we did with our previous color change, like this. And we will begin by knitting 5. Okay, then we're going to slip 2 purlwise, and we'll start our repeat by knitting 4. And we'll finish our repeat by slipping 2 purlwise. So we're going to repeat that sequence all the way across. Now when we get to the last 5 stitches in our row, we're going to knit 5. Row 6, we're going to begin by purling 5. Then we're going to start our repeat by slipping the next 2 stitches purlwise, and we'll finish our repeat by knitting 4. Row 6, we're going to begin by purling 5. Then we're going to start our repeat by slipping the next 2 stitches purlwise, and then we'll finish our repeat by purling 4. So we'll continue slipping 2 and purling 4 until we reach the last 7 stitches in our row. Now when we reach the last 7 stitches in our row, we're going to slip the next 2 stitches purlwise, and then we will purl 5. Row 7, we're going to go back to our color A, so we're going to bring it underneath our color B along the side, and we will begin by knitting 4. Okay, then we're going to start our next stitch by doing a cable to back, but I'm just going to use the right twist stitch because I find it's easier to do. And I'll do the left twist stitch rather than the cable 2 forward. Alright, now we're going to start our repeat by knitting 2. And then we'll finish our repeat by doing another set of cables. So our right twist and our left twist. Alright, and we'll continue repeating that sequence until we reach the last 4 stitches in our row. When we reach the last 4 stitches in our row, we're going to knit 4. Row 8, we're going to purl all stitches. So we're going to repeat rows 1 through 8 until we've reached our desired length. And that's how we knit the slipped stitch crosses stitch. After a few repeats, your pattern should look like this. Want more New Stitch a Day? Check out our website at newstitchaday.com.